So good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Appleton, and I'm the Smart City Director at Bizztech. Bizztech is a company that specializes in the creation of metaverse, immersive, agentic AI-powered digital twins. And that might sound like a bit of a mouthful, but hopefully this will explain a little bit more of what that really means. But rather than focus on the industry side of things, we're looking at public sector. So today I want to talk to you about something that's been holding smart cities back for years, and that's actually silos. So not just technical silos, but institutional, operational, and even mental silos. And I'll show you how cities like Poznan in Poland, one of our customers, is using metaverse technology powered by Unreal Engine to bring their existing digital twins to life and to connect these dots in a way that's spatial, collaborative, and genuinely empowering for citizens and city leaders alike. And as Praveen said, in the previous presentation about how most traditional digital twins are static models. By using gaming technology like Unreal 5, what we can do is actually make them real and alive using simulation, high GPUs, just to make things really run nicely. So let's get back to silos. So the problem with cities at the moment is we have a wealth of data, models, tools, dashboards, and simulations, you name it, but they're generally not speaking to each other. So city departments are often isolated by design. Transport doesn't speak to housing, or planning doesn't speak with energy, waste doesn't speak with water, and no one's really sure where the citizen falls into this. So we always see citizens as the end customer, really, when it comes to cities. And so even when a city does have a digital twin, it's typically locked inside a GIS platform, or it's hard to visualize or access, and it's very hard to share in a meaningful way with the public. And this fragmentation can often mean that collaboration is inefficient, planning is reactive instead of proactive, and data becomes something to hoard rather than something to use. So I like to call it a crisis of coordination. And that's where Bizztech comes in. And I promise you this isn't a sales pitch. But what we've developed is a browser-based metaverse platform that acts like a glue for siloed systems. So like I said, it's built on Unreal 5, which allows us to create photorealistic 3D environments. But more importantly, it's built to integrate with existing city data, digital twins, and IoT feeds. And the result of this is a persistent shared spatial layer that sits on top of a city's existing system. So if you have a digital twin already, we can go into that already. And it allows everyone from civil servants to citizens to actually access and experience and interact with this data in real time. And there's no need for downloads or VR headsets, just a web browser. It's immersive, but it's practical. And this isn't about making complex decisions visible. It is about making complex decisions visible and shared and testable. So yeah, I won't bore you with the slides too much. I would like to say that the best way to experience our metaverse platform is to see it in a real demonstration, but this is only a short call, so I'd invite you to speak to me or my colleague Akuvi, who's also on the call, for how this works. So what makes this platform powerful isn't just visual fidelity, it's how it unlocks interaction. And through integration with real-time IoT data and LLM-powered agents, you can explore a city's infrastructure and ask questions like you'd ask a city hall worker or a colleague. So you could walk through a city district and say, what's the projected energy use here if we added more houses? Or which areas have the highest citizen complaints about noise? And so instead of just you looking at a PDF or a spreadsheet or an intangible dashboard, the system will tell you and show you spatially, visually, and in plain language what's really going on. And this is the power of what we're doing in Poznan. And I'm very sorry about this messy slide, but it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. What we are doing here, it began as a citizen participation project where an area of the city was given to the citizens as part of a participatory budget to develop into something. It was voted for to turn into a Japanese garden. And the best way to actually engage stakeholders into this was to invite citizens in to help reimagine and model what this would look like. At the moment, that's sort of been cut off due to some funding issues, trying to get extra sponsors. But the plan was, and still is, to be able to bring stakeholders in and to vote exactly on what's going on, to make sure that everybody's getting their voice heard. So while one group voted for a Japanese garden, another group voted for a sensory garden instead. And this way we can collaborate and bring everyone together. So see it like a spatial sandbox or a full 3D representation of a city area where planners and researchers and citizens and private partners can explore, test ideas in context, showcase projects, and engage citizens itself. What we've done next, though, is we've decided that this has been such a great model and it's been well received for the city's City Lab and its core members. What we're doing is bringing them all together to have a digital showcase of their products available in metaverse, but also access to anyone who requires it to the city's already excellent open data platform, where data isn't just held in spreadsheets. It's actually something that can be visualized to help inspire the next wave of entrepreneurs for citizens who have solutions. And yeah, that's more or less it. So startups can showcase their solutions, investors can explore proof of concepts, and international guests can drop in for virtual events, pitch days, hackathons, and co-working. And what we have with that is our AI agents involved that acts like spatial concierges, answering questions, running tours, and simulating city use cases. So think of it as a permanent programmable expo space, I think is the best way to discuss it. This is just a number of the partners that are involved, if that's of any use to anyone. But the strategic value for this is actually visibility. The city can position itself as a forward-looking, digitally mature city with a clear innovation brand. For citizen engagement, it's very high, so citizens can't just comment on projects, they can actually experience them and help shape them, suggest changes, and co-create the outcomes. In terms of efficiency, planners, departments, and private partners can test and iterate solutions faster with fewer misunderstandings. And what's most important to me is it's a way to foster talent retention within the city. We have wonderful universities, AI institutes, research facilities. We have 3 quantum computers here in Poznan, 1 full and 2 analog. But most people don't have access to this or know what it can be used for. So having this in a way that allows entrepreneurs and the public to explore what's going on means this talent doesn't leave and just join, big companies in better paying countries, let's just say. And finally, what I like to think is that it provides measurable outcomes. So analytics, interaction data, project KPIs, all linked to real world urban metrics. So this is the mayor's proxy for smart city digitization and cybersecurity for the city, and is a long quote from him here, but I'll just break it down nicely. So this isn't just a showcase, it's a sandbox for smarter, faster, and more inclusive urban innovation. And I think he's absolutely right, because what Poznan is doing here with us is more than a demo. It's a working prototype for the future of digital-first governance. Or as I like to say, it's turning an Internet of Things into an Internet of Actions. That's not my quote, that came from the city of Tampere in Finland, but please feel free to use it because it's wonderful. And so to close and keep things short, I do have a video, but I don't want it to play. So let's see if I can skip past that. Yeah, let's just do a thank you instead. So thank you very much. I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea of what else we can do with digital twins. And yeah, please reach out to us and let's talk. Thank you very much.
So Joe, our questions at the moment all for you. So the first one is, what does metaverse provide with a less elaborate 3D visualization that a twin can't?
Okay, that's a great question, and one that I will answer as simply as possible. Is by using metaverse, and what I think is our strength is we can integrate, for example, many different service providers. So working with NVIDIA Omniverse, for example, is great, but the real difference, in my opinion, is using Unreal Engine. Since the gaming community's always been light years ahead of everyone else when it comes to making things as realistic as possible, Unreal 5 allows us to take existing digital twins and use these technologies in a better way. So, I mean, the wrong way to say it is turning your city into Grand Theft Auto. But what these games do have is a better understanding of some, physics models than perhaps you could make just easily at home. So we can have access to good earthquake simulators, for example, which are based on existing real life data, that the hard work's already been done. So that's what I would like to say. And I hope that answers your question. I find that metaverse is just a way to bring everything together into one easy access system.
Very good. Thank you very much. So our next question, if I may, is the question here highlighted in purple. How important, Joe, do you think it is to address the crisis of coordination with a close relationship between the worlds of sharing data, digital twins, and AI?
Oh, another great question. I'd like to start with, let's think about siloed mentalities and the human nature of ivory tower mentality. It's something that's very hard, and it's been a big pain point for cities in particular for years. And I would say Where AI comes in is it's impartial. So what you can do is you can take the human element out of the decision-making process and have more visuals on the problems, on the data, on the challenges, and the solutions all in one place to match make the right things together. Every time I ask this to other, public sector workers, they will say, it has to be top down. You need to have a mayor who knows all of this kind of thing, and they can have eyes on it and make sure everything's coordinated. But that's a dream, because mayors and decision makers are also politically driven, and they have other things to do. They're more like figureheads, and you can't expect them to have a full understanding of what this kind of technology is, or what interoperability means, or it's just you can't ask one person to do that. So bringing in artificial intelligence is probably the best way to help navigate that crisis of coordination. So I like to say, instead of breaking silos, let's keep the silos, but let's have an intelligent artificial agent running each silo, operated by a master agent over the top that can control all of these things, if you will. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. And our final question here that we've got on the list is, how did the first round of funding happen, and what has been learned from the funding? Now it stopped.
Oh, that's an awful question. Well, actually, the way that we're running a lot of these projects, for example, the first project of scale that we did was in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, in the United States. That was actually privately funded to begin with. It began as a project we created 4 miles of the city of Montgomery in metaverse. I think it's the largest metaverse environment created so far, in celebration of the Civil Rights March of Selma to Montgomery, so that people could take part on the march virtually. The first stage of that was actually funded through private sector, and for people who would join in and want to advertise or sponsor it. And the second level, which is more the infrastructure level, is actually through a federal funding grant. But it's a one-off payment to create these things, and then we have like a software as a service subscription for streaming costs to keep things going. But the business model, that's not up to us to create. We're a platform provider. So I'm going to deflect the question with that very nicely. But what we try and do is we make sure that these projects will last. If there's no clear business model or no return of investment for the clients, we will actively tell them that from the beginning, that we don't know if this is the right thing for you, or if perhaps our solutions are perhaps too overpriced for what's required. Yeah. Write to me later.
Very good. Good answer to the question.